The front of our brain is the part that basically makes us awesome. It's where we analyze risk effectively. It's where we inhibit things that we don't want to do. So when a bad thought comes into our head, this is the part that lets us not do it or not say it. Very, very important. It's where we're creative. It's where our logic is. It's where a lot of our memory gets accessed from. The challenge is that the brain gets fed from the bottom to the top and the back to the front. And this is the last part of the brain that gets fuel, that gets oxygen and glucose. So the survival centers of our brain are in the brainstem here. And if they are burning up all of the fuel, then the front of our brain is getting starved.
Welcome back to the Profit First REI podcast. I have a very interesting guest here today. This is Mike Ochsner, and I met him at an event recently, and he did something in a room that was very cool and very different than I had ever seen before. And he helps a lot of people in our space, but not in like the typical fashion that you would typically hear out on a real estate investing stage or whatnot. So I'm super excited about this. I'm kind of keeping you in the dark so Mike can tell his story. But Mike, thanks for being on the podcast today.
Well, thank you for having me on, David. It was great meeting you and great getting to see you again.
Yeah, and I think it's so interesting what you do and how you do it, and like even what you did from the front of the room, you know, like, and I heard that you've done that many times before, but I want to just get into, okay, the entrepreneur space is such an interesting space, right? It's like we've got so many different types of people from all different backgrounds. I want to just, how did you get into the line of work you're in? First, you deal with neurology, you deal with people, and can you just give people a brief explanation, like either how you got into that and what that means so people can have that frame of reference?
Yeah, I always had, I always leaned towards adventure sports. Loved football, played rugby, did full contact, no holds barred fighting, all sorts of different things, rock climbing, trail running, adventure races. And over the years, I racked up lots of concussions, 15 where I lost time. And the consequences of those concussions caught up with me. And I had vertigo almost every night. My eyes didn't track correctly. It was hard reading. Self-control was a challenge. Attention, sleep, all sorts of things were a problem. And I met with an applied neurology coach and reversed a lot of it in about 20 minutes by getting my visual and vestibular balance systems working together the way that they were supposed to. And it blew my mind.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it was amazing. When I went into that first meeting or first appointment, I had so much pain in my shoulder that I couldn't really do more than one push-up for the last 6 months at a time. And after that 20 minutes of vision and balance drills, I could do 20 push-ups without pain. The shoulder pain was completely gone and did not do anything to my shoulder. It was all in my brain. And so I started using the techniques with other people. And specifically, I was working in the tactical world with firearms training. And what I was able to see was increases in speed and accuracy 288 times faster than what was possible with traditional training. And that really got my attention. And so for the last 12 years, I've spent over 100 hours a year, every year, doing live neurology training and figuring out how to help driven professionals with pain, with attention, focus, sleep, and performance under pressure. And worked with people a lot of people in the tactical space, elite and professional athletes and entrepreneurs of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-figure companies.
So then when you see an entrepreneur, do you see that like as a case where, I don't know, some of us, yes, have physical jobs, but a lot of us, I don't know, it feels more mental or challenging, or like, what do you see the typical either entrepreneur or real estate investor? Is it like the tension in the neck, shoulders? Like, I don't know. Is it, what do you see typically, especially in the entrepreneur space?
Yeah, there's a few things that are very typical. Number one of the realities are or is that about 30% of entrepreneurs have ADHD symptoms. And
Okay.
so ADHD can be a superpower or it can be a struggle depending on which parts of the brain are in control. So if the survival centers of the brain are in control, ADHD is a constant struggle and it's horrible. If the executive control center of the brain is in control, then ADHD is a superpower and it's absolutely incredible. And so, what I see a lot of times with entrepreneurs is that I'm included in that, have driven so hard for so long that parts of their brain aren't working as well as they should be. And they blame it on age, they blame it on all sorts of things, try and take supplements, uh, try the latest hack, the latest biohacking tool or whatever, and they're not addressing the underlying issues. And so a lot of times for entrepreneurs, real estate investors, note buyers, et cetera, it's things in the brainstem. It's tight hip flexors. It's the eyes aren't tracking perfectly. And so reading creates issues and creates tension in the face, in the head, in the neck. And it doesn't take a whole lot of work to undo those. And for people who get tension headaches from reading, a lot of times we can increase reading speed and comprehension by 30, 50, 100% or more just by getting the eyes to work together the way that they were designed to work together. And we get rid of the tension headaches and speed up productivity.
That's so interesting because I'm sure that anyone listening to this, if they have a business, like they feel all of that at some point or are feeling it right now. Like the tension headaches are like, okay, I'm just driving in. I thought what you said was so interesting that they get into that rut and then they just keep driving for, harder and harder. And then they try, maybe it slows up at some point and then they can think about, okay, I need to work out or I need to take these pills or like that. But you're saying that a lot of that stems in the brain, or there's those brain pathways that they've made, and now it's like we've got to do something different. We got to get out there, and you can help people with that and helping them. And it sounds like you can totally say no, you're wrong, David, but it sounds like with what you have that it doesn't take months or years. It can take either days or months, I don't know, or weeks, like working with people. And some it doesn't even sound like it takes like that long with some of these things that you train people on.
No, and I'll give you an example. A lot of times it's seconds. Because
Faster.
Yeah, so if you think about the entrepreneurial brain being a sports car and you're accelerating on an on-ramp getting onto the interstate and you're not accelerating quite as fast as you think you should be, and all of a sudden you smell smoke and you realize the parking brake is dragging. So you've got a couple of options. Number one, you can mash the gas harder to see if that helps you go faster, or you can release the brakes and you get better acceleration with less energy and fewer maintenance issues. And so what I do on the neurology side is help people release the brakes in their brain so that they get more performance with the same or less effort and fewer maintenance issues as they're going along.
I like that. It sounds like I love that analogy where you're helping them release the brake, because just going faster doesn't mean that they'll do better, which is what we teach a lot of people on, the profit first side. Just because you make more money does not mean you keep more of the money as well too. So, and then it's like, it sounds like with your health, it doesn't matter if you run more, exercise more, eat better, do all the right things. If you have the parking brake on that is constantly weighing you down, especially in those grooves in your brain. And that's where a lot of it stems from, pun fully intended. So that's where it sounds like you help people with that part and making sure that they have that parking brake off. I really like that analogy.
It's so appropriate. And you can think of it from an accounting perspective. You can look at it as being like a money multiplier. You can look at it as drag on the system. You can look at it as how much sand is leaking out through your fingers. Uh, you can work harder and harder and harder, but if the system is bleeding, you need to fix the bleed. You need to stop the bleed. And when you do, everything's more efficient. It takes less effort, and life's a lot more fun.
So it sounds like you work with lots of different people that are the high energy and the high, like the high output, and they have lots of these symptoms, and, people in those different spaces. Is there someone, okay, I want to ask this just because I'm curious. Is there someone that you don't want to work with? Like, is there someone who you're like, nope, we want to work well together? I don't know if that's more personality or like if they have other things in their life or issues or something. I'm like, this just seems like a pretty universal issue, especially in the entrepreneur space.
Yeah, in the entrepreneur space, there's very few people who would not be a fit. Outside of the entrepreneur space, it does become an issue because if somebody is not willing to do the things that they need to do in order to make forward progress, there's no use in me telling them what to do to make their brain work better. But if we look at kind of blending worlds, people to a large extent know all the things that they need to do or know many of the things that they need to do in order to improve their business. What they need more of is, they need less brain fog in the afternoon. They need less decision fatigue. They need the ability to make more high quality decisions over a longer period of time during the day. And that's all governed by the brain and which part of the brain is in control. If we can make the brain feel safe and like it's not threatened, then it's going to let you run full speed for 2, 3, 4 times as long per day. And you're going to feel better at the end of the day. You're going to make better decisions, and you're going to have more energy for your family and say fewer things that you regret at night. And so it's a really fun process to see play out. Can I give you an example real quick?
I would love an example. I was even going to ask for an example. So yes, you read my mind.
So I was talking with the CEO of a $100+ million company, and I asked him if there was anything I could do for him. And he kind of laughed and he said, well, my hip flexor's been tight for 7 years. And he had tried hundreds of appointments of various kinds. He'd flown in his jet to specialists to try and get help with it, taking muscle relaxants, all sorts of different things. But the fact remained, every afternoon his hip flexor tightened up, and he wasn't able to do the business things that he wanted to in the afternoon because of that constant drain and distraction. His social life changed because of it. The activities that he was able to do changed because of it. And he wasn't as much fun to be around in the evening because he was constantly dealing with pain.
Yeah.
In about 90 seconds, we got rid of it. And that was over 2 years ago. Because of the fact that I helped him identify the specific parts of the brain that were underperforming and how to get them up to speed very quickly, he had the protocol to be able to take care of himself from then on. And when we were together in Jacksonville, I helped a handful of people with that too, who'd been struggling with tight hip flexors. And again, it's just figuring out which part of the brain is underperforming, getting it up to speed. And now all of a sudden that brake is off, and it's not draining energy. It's not draining mental resources. And we've got more bandwidth to be awesome.
All right. I have to pause the episode real quick. If you're a real estate investor who's tired of wondering where your money is going or why you're closing deals but still feeling broke, you need to talk to Simple CFO. Simple CFO is Profit First certified and fully endorsed by Mike Ochsner, the creator of Profit First himself. Our team specializes in helping real estate investors finally get control of their cash flow so you keep more money, you pay yourself consistently, and build a business that doesn't run on chaos. We'll help you implement the Profit First system the right way, set up the financial processes you've been missing, and give you a dedicated fractional CFO who actually understands investing and keeping track of your numbers on flips, wholesales, rentals, private lending, all of it. So if you want predictable profit instead of living deal to deal, head over to simplecfo.com and book your financial clarity call today. That's simplecfo.com. Stop living in confusion and start keeping the money you work so hard to earn. Now, back to the episode. That is awesome. And I love that. And I love that, especially for the people that have something where they've paid either the money or they've invested and they're trying all the things and they haven't worked. It's like, this could be a last call for you. Or if you don't want to go down that road, this could be the first call for you, like before you get there as well too. So it's like, I'd rather go that route. That's always my cup of tea. But Mike, you did something at the Jacksonville event, but we were in person. I'm not sure if you have any examples like that of, like, I don't know, people listening, because I know some people will watch on YouTube, but a lot of people will more likely listen to this podcast. Mike, is there anything you could do to, like, demonstrate through the sound waves, like, of what we're talking about, or like what they could do right now if they're listening to this, just to give, and they'll probably be alone. Hopefully you're alone you're in the car, you're doing something, you're at home, you're folding the laundry, you're working out, you're whatever it is. Mike, is there something you could do, like, as a demonstration to help?
Yeah, absolutely. We can do the one that we did together.
Let's do it. I'll do it as the guinea pig here example.
Okay. So you need two hands for it. So it's going to be a challenge if you're driving. You want to do it at a stoplight or at a stop sign.
Don't do this.
Right. What you want to do is start out and look both ways 5 or 10 times. Just kind of see what your comfortable range of motion is. You don't want to force anything. And doing it 5 or 10 times, we let it warm up a little bit and see what our true range of motion is.
Yep.
And what you want to think about is, how easy was it? How threatening did it feel? Where did it get tight? And were there any crunchy sounds or sensations?
And
mine
was tight. Like, I couldn't get all the way. I felt like maybe this way I had more pain and I couldn't get as far. So I definitely do have some of that. So what do I do from here?
So what we're going to do is pull up and forward on the top of our ears about 10 times. You don't need to count. Just do it for a few seconds. And then straight up for about 10 seconds. And then up and back. Down and back. And then straight down. And then try it again.
That is crazy. Like, it doesn't, like, before I even pressed here and I felt some pain, and like now I don't have that. And so it feels easier. Okay, Mike, can you explain this to me in layman's terms? How doing that with my ears made it, like, I would love to hear this. Like, how in the world did I feel better doing it that second time just after doing that exercise?
It's a really fun process. So, do you have a dog by chance?
I do not have a dog.
Oh, okay. So dogs, if you think about a sleeping dog and a sound happens off to the side, what happens is they go, and their ears perk up and they orient to the threat or the potential threat. And the reason for that is something called the tectospinal reflex, where we orient to visual or auditory threats. We square up to them. And the wiring is the same on dogs as people, only we don't really have visible movement of the ears like dogs do. Well, we can stimulate that part of the brain, the superior colliculus, by tugging on the ears. That sends more oxygen and glucose. And now all of a sudden the brain is more comfortable turning the head and turning the head quickly. And you mentioned residual neck tension. There's no physical connection between the ears and your traps. And it should not relax it. But what we're doing is we're calming down the parts of the brain that are holding residual tension and saying, hey, you're safe. You don't need to do that anymore. Residual tension in a muscle is basically pre-tensioning to respond to a potential threat. And when the brain's comfortable that it can respond to threats, it reduces muscle tension. And the impact of it can be absolutely amazing, especially for people who've had whiplash or neck injuries. One of the coolest things is when people have crunchies when they turn and they pull on their ears and the crunchy sensation goes away. And that should not happen. But what's happening is the brain is creating that crunchy sensation to get us to not move our head and our neck as a protective mechanism. When the brain feels safe, it allows the neck movement. It doesn't have the need to create the crunchy sensation anymore.
Wow, this is incredible, because I'm just thinking too, like lots of people in the real estate space spend a lot of time on the phones, probably hunched over or like just in awkward situations, positions all day long. And it's like, this sounds like this could be, like you said, the productivity goes up because if they're releasing that tension or getting their brain to feel more safe during the day, then if no one loves cold calling, but if you got to get on the phone and you got to make those calls, I'm sure you'd feel more apt to do that if you didn't feel as like just tight all over the place. And if you had something like this to be able to help you relax or whatever it might be, or just difficult conversations or just talking with team members, it's like all the things that can create different scenarios and situations. So I love this because it's so funny. I think where you sit in my framework, I like to tell people it's all about what you make, spend, and keep, and making sure you keep more of the money you're making. It's like for you, Mike, I see you on like you can help them make more because you can help them relax and be more productive, but you can help them keep more because then you can also help them relax to actually have the time and not be like tense all the time, to be like, okay, I can't even think about anything else but this pain, or like I got to get on the phone or whatever it might be. So I kind of see you sitting on both sides of that fence of like, okay, what's blocking you? It doesn't matter if it's you need to make more or keep more. I just need to get the things that are out of your way, to be able to think about or do the things you need to do. So I really like it from that aspect too.
Yeah. Can I elaborate on that quick?
Yeah. Elaborate, please.
All right. Let me grab my brain here.
He's grabbing a physical brain, just not his. It's a very colorful one for those of you on the podcast. He's got a brain in his hand.
Good disclaimer there.
Yeah, he did not grab his own brain. So that would have been.
All right. Crazy. So the front of our brain is the part that basically makes us awesome. It's where we analyze risk effectively. It's where we inhibit things that we don't want to do. So when a bad thought comes into our head, this is the part that lets us not do it or not say it. Very, very important. It's where we're creative. It's where our logic is. It's where a lot of our memory gets accessed from. The challenge is that the brain gets fed from the bottom to the top and the back to the front. And this is the last part of the brain that gets fuel, that gets oxygen and glucose. Okay. So the survival centers of our brain are in the brainstem here. And if they are burning up all of the fuel, then the front of our brain is getting starved. We become more reactive, less logical. Our ability to assess risk drops off of a cliff. Our ability to pay attention drops off of a cliff. Our ability to sleep drops off of a cliff. Our ability to digest food drops off of a cliff. All sorts of things go haywire because the brain thinks that it's in a life or death situation instead of just life.
Yeah.
And so the more we can get, the better we can get this part of the brain working, the more efficient we can make it, the more fuel makes it to the front of the brain, and the more awesome we get to be.
That's incredible. And I love that with what you're doing, you're really helping people pinpoint this. And if that's what they need, like this is obviously a great thing that you've been able to now go out there and help other people with it. And it sounds like you're an expert, you're the professional. You can help people from on stage or one-on-one like this, or even across a podcast. Like even that's what I like about a podcast, Mike, is they can go back and they can rewind and they can listen if they want to and like do that exercise again, and they can do it on their own. So if you were driving and now you want to go back once you're home and try that, just go back to the middle of the episode and then you can try that right in your home or in your living room. It's like, that's where I love stuff like this. And Mike, you work with people and you also wrote a book, and you've got several ways and several things that you have. I'd love for you to go through that. Like, what book did you write? Why did you write it? And then I'd love to point people where they can find you from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got several books in the tactical world, but this Unleash ADHD is your $6 million superpower, is how to improve focus and attention. And regardless of whether someone was born with ADHD or whether they have ADHD symptoms from head injuries, medication, illnesses, all sorts of different things, this book helps turn down the survival parts of the brain and get more oxygen and glucose to the awesome parts of the brain.
Well, that's definitely one for your entrepreneurs. So can you just hold up the book one more time? It's Unleash ADHD, and then the as your $6 million superpower. So Unleash ADHD as your $6 million superpower. I mean, like if you're an entrepreneur, this would be a book, even with that title, would interest you. So if you want to go pick that up, is it on Amazon? Is that where they can get the book?
It's on Amazon. But if they buy it direct at ADHDadvantage.com, they get both the physical and digital version for the same price that it is on Amazon for one.
Oh, awesome. So ADHD Advantage.
2 for 1 instead of... Yep. And then if people prefer video, I've got a free online workshop called Peak Brain Reboot. And Peak Brain Reboot goes into a lot of the things that we just talked about, how the brain works and why people struggle with things, the reality of pain. The crazy thing is pain is created in the brain. It's not created at an injury site or where we're hurting. It's created in the brain, and we can have a lot of control over it. It's like a magnifying glass or a volume knob, where we can either distort it and make it more than it actually is, or we can distort it and make it less than it actually is. And once we have the ability to do that, it's incredibly freeing and empowering.
It's good stuff. I really like everything that you've shared today. And so that was peakbrainreboot.com. So we've got the two different sites. You can get his book at ADHDadvantage.com. And then if you want to dive deeper into what he talked about today, especially if you're listening to this as a real estate investor entrepreneur, that's peakbrainreboot.com as well. So Mike, this has been awesome. Thank you for being a very unique guest that I think will help a ton of people in this space to be able to get to where they want to be, with their health, their mental health, but then their physical health as well too. And if you've got something that's been bothering you a long time, this is at least a great person and a great place to point you to. And then if you are out there and you're like, hey, I'm making money, but I'm not keeping it. What the heck is happening? I can't even think about Mike and his stuff. If you need that help, go to simplecfo.com. That's where we're helping you make sure you can get back on the right track so you can have the brain space and the money to make sure that you could go down this road as well, too. If you want to go down this road, honestly, it's a book. Like anyone can get the book. You can go out there and read his book. I think that would be immensely helpful. And then go check out peakbrainreboot.com. Mike, thank you again. Any parting words for the people here?
Oh, I'd encourage everyone to go to peakbrainreboot.com and attend the free workshop. It's on demand and it goes through drills like what we did. And again, explains why your brain works the way it does and how to have more control over it and how to make it run to the original design specifications.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on today, Mike. And remember, if
Thank
you're
you.
listening to this, make profit a habit in your business. Don't be waiting for that event. Make profit a habit in your business. That's it for today's show. Be sure to subscribe, review, and share this episode. If you're serious about financial systems and keeping more of your profit, visit simplecfo.com to take your free discovery call today.